Welcome back to Rand on Real Estate. I'm Greg Rand, your host on 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. Keep those calls coming in, 800-848-9222. But now we're going to talk, as promised, about a specific market. Every show I like to dig deep in one place around the country because I want you to see that this country is as diverse in terms of opportunities as the stock market could dream about. You know, the stock market, you have something for everybody. You can invest in this sector or that sector, in this stock and that stock. Well, the national housing market has kind of the same thing going for it in that no two places in this country are exactly the same. And there are things that are changing, things that are shifting all the time that are creating opportunities in all kinds of parts of the country. And the beauty of it is that if I could teach you how to be a market analyst, there's nobody, you know, like when you try to invest in the stock market, you're going up against people who do this all day long, who've got systems and technologies and resources that you couldn't dream about, and you are competing with them to get the right stock price, to make the right buy, etc. Okay? Here, you can become the foremost expert on some little piece of dirt that nobody else is paying attention to. And what we're going to talk about now is not a place no one's paying attention to. A lot of people are paying attention to it, and it's one of what I call the second-tier cities. Okay, cities with a population, you know, between 500,000 and 1.5 million people. Okay, so call it 1 million people that have the potential to double their population. You know, New York with 20 million or whatever people in the metro area, it ain't going to double in terms of the size of population. But places that are growing and where investments are being made have the potential to see population go up over a 10-year period in dramatic increases. You know, 30, 40, 50%, even 100% increase in population. And remember, population increases equals demand for housing. So what we do is we look around, look at the numbers, look at the stats, look at the migration patterns, and then we find somebody on the ground, somebody who really knows the market, who's been there for a long time, who knows it like the back of their hand, who then, once we establish what's going on, they can tell us why it's going on. And so we're going to talk about Jacksonville, Florida today, okay? Northern Florida. It's a major city in the state of Florida. There are some things about it that I think are going to pique your interest. And so we've got the foremost expert on the line here from Jacksonville. His name is Ed Foreman. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Greg?
Wonderful, thank you. Ed is the president of Watson Realty, which is a huge real estate company, one of the top 10 real estate companies in all the country. And they happen to do business in Jacksonville all the way across to Orlando. And Ed runs that show over there, and we're very proud to have him as part of the OwnAmerica network now. So, Ed, tell us just sort of in a nutshell here, what's going on in Jacksonville? Why is everybody moving there right now?
Well, everyone loves the climate. We have a little bit of winter, nothing like in the Northeast, not as hot as Miami. So a lot of people are moving here. They love it here. It's close to the ocean, and, you know, the infrastructure is great. So just a wonderful place to live. The people are very nice and very friendly.
Well, that's great, and you know, and you're a good spokesman for all of them because you're a nice, friendly fellow yourself. We're here in New York, okay? New Yorkers are conditioned to be comfortable with Florida, right? That I-95 corridor, everybody's gone down there. Everybody has friends that live down there, and so the folks listening up here, we think of Florida though as sort of a retirement community. The entire state comes across like a retirement community to people up here in New York because that's where people from New York go to retire. Jacksonville is not that way though, right? Jacksonville is a city that sustains itself on its industry, the economics there are not dependent on retirees because that's not really your thing, right?
Right. And there's just wonderful opportunities. There's Mayo, banking, Navy, a lot of businesses. The international airport is here. Very good for shipping, very good for the ports. And everyone just loves the ocean and the waterfront, and the prices are reasonable as compared to other parts of the country.
Yeah, well, that's the key. I mean, your numbers right now are down to like 2001 prices, okay? So you've been impacted by the housing meltdown down there price-wise, but there's no good reason why Jacksonville real estate should be selling for prices that were being gotten back in 2001. But you mentioned the port, and I learned something about Jacksonville when I was researching it that really attracted my interest, okay, and is causing me to go dig deeper and actually make recommendations to institutional investors that we counsel to be looking seriously at Jacksonville, and that is the Panama Canal being widened. What's happening, I mean, people are familiar with the Panama Canal, right? These large container ships are able to come through the Panama Canal, and they can cut out having to go all the way around the south tip of South America. But the ships that have been built over the last couple of decades are 5 times bigger than the ships that were being built when they built the canal. So the biggest cargo ships can't get through the canal until 2014, right? So they're widening the canal. They're making it big enough now for these mega monster ships. And the key is, if you think about where the big population is, the biggest concentration of population and wealth in the world is the Northeast United States. The biggest concentration of production and manufacturing of goods and the fastest growing sector of the planet right now is Southeast Asia. You look at a globe, try to get to New York from Southeast Asia, all right? You have to either land on the West Coast, land your ship on the West Coast, put everything on trucks and trains and bring it across, or you have to go all the way around the southern tip of South America if you want to get one of these big container ships over there. So the widening of the Panama Canal makes a dramatic impact on the port business, because the first port you hit, if you come through the Panama Canal and you want to get to New York City with your stuff, the first port you hit is Jacksonville. So now is that factor being talked about down there? Are they marketing that fact, and are people aware in the area there? Is that already beginning to attract jobs now?
Yes, they are, and the port is taking a very aggressive position as far as widening the channel and all the loading, unloading, the docking facilities. They have really made a huge investment, and they are securing international accounts, and it really is booming. That is adding a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunity to the Northeast Florida area.
And so now tie that in for me with the Navy, right? You've got a major naval presence there. And, obviously, a ship is a ship, right? So if you spent a lot of time in the Navy, piloting one of those things, is there a tie in there in terms of job growth?
Yes, there is. And another thing that speaks well of Jacksonville is a lot of the military who retire here. They come here in the Navy, retire here, remain here. And I think that speaks volume. But there's a huge Navy NAS, Mayport, and then you also have Kings Bay, which is in southeast Georgia, which is only about 45 minutes up from Jacksonville. Huge Navy installation, and that really brings a lot of benefits.
So they've been all over the world. They check out Jacksonville. They're in the Navy. They decide to retire and stay there. And then with this port growing, they've got a built-in job opportunity situation happening right there. Is that one of the reasons why they are attracted to retire there also, besides the climate and the scenic beauty and the lifestyle? But is there a plug-and-play opportunity for the Navy there to retire people and have them be able to work?
Yes, I think so, because a lot of the retired military people are on their either second or third jobs. And you also have some universities here that are good, too. University of North Florida, FCCJU, really some good educational facilities here as well.
Beautiful. Yeah, I tell you, it's a bit of a sleeper in terms of people don't talk about it so much. I'm getting around the country and talking about real estate investing. The second-tier cities that people don't necessarily, not on the tip of their tongue. People talk about Phoenix and Vegas all the time, like those are the only places to invest. And I look at Jacksonville and say, you know what, with a median sale price at, let's see, you're finishing the year someplace in the ballpark of $120,000 is the median price of a piece of residential real estate in your marketplace. That's, like I said, back to, it's more like 2002 prices right now. So you've given back a lot of the appreciation. Now, can you give me an idea of, if I had, just give me a picture, paint a picture of a standard 3-bedroom house, family house, how big, how much would it cost, and how much could it rent for?
Well, you can find a real nice 3-bedroom home, 2 baths, probably a 2-car garage in the area of $125,000. You could go as low as 75, so 100 to 125,000. Probably anywhere between 1,200 and 1,500 square feet. And what is happening is the rental rates are really escalating. There's a shortage of rental properties, and they would rent for somewhere between $1,000, $1,075 to maybe $1,400 or $1,500 a month, depending on the location and the home.
So you're making money every month in that situation. That is I don't have to do the math on that to know that is a positive cash flow. You go buy a house like that, you put 25 or 30% down, you're making a couple $100 a month in positive cash flow, and you're catching Jacksonville at a point in its history where it's taken a beating on home prices for reasons that it is not to blame for, okay? It was the housing crisis that impacted all of the Southeast. So the prices are down, demand for rentals are going up, and demand for housing is continuing to go up because of the factors we've talked about, migration coming in, jobs coming in, and the industry expanding. It's a pretty incredible opportunity down there. Are you seeing investors becoming more and more active in Jacksonville now?
Yes, we have lots of investors. We are working with one right now looking to buy 2,500 homes. So that really is a powerful statement when investors are looking here. They're looking in Orlando as well. Everyone wants to move to Florida sooner or later. I lived in Washington, D.C. for 25 years, and just a lot of people want to buy a piece of Florida, and investors are putting their money here. The rental rates, the sales prices are really perfect match for cash flow. It is really working. People are taking their money out of the 401ks, taking the money out of the bank, because we know what they're making on their bank accounts.
Right.
And they are investing in real estate. And,
well, I love it. I love it. You know, you think about a place where usually if you're getting positive cash flow and stability in values, you don't get the roller coaster ride where the market has overcorrected, right? You have to either you pick a place that's stable or you pick a place that's volatile. That's why I love the idea of the national marketplace in real estate, that when you dig in deep, what we're talking about here is a place that has explosive appreciation potential for the reasons that we've talked about here. Okay, I believe that's what's going to happen. I believe you guys are going to snap back and you're going to outpace the rest of the country pretty dramatically in terms of your appreciation over the next 15 years. But you're also getting a great deal in the pricing right now. So major upside, but also you're making money every month when you rent the place out, and there's plenty of demand for rentals. So, you know, you guys have a property management firm down there also, so people who buy a piece of real estate can basically plug into an existing operation who can keep an eye on it for them, maintain it for them, plug tenants in when tenants leave. It becomes much more of a turnkey investment than people think it is when they say, you know, I'm terrified of being a landlord. You don't have to be when you're working with a full-service operation like the one you run, Ed.
Also, we have maintenance, heating and air conditioning, electrical, plumbing. So we have full service available, which makes managing the properties very easy. We have a management division, and we really had the perfect storm that has created a lot of elements that just really make it incredible to invest. And I would say probably the best thing is it is great living in Northeast Florida, great living in Jacksonville. The lifestyle is fantastic.
Well, it's funny, you know, oftentimes when it comes down, after doing the analysis of all the hard things, you know, like the hard numbers and the hard data and employment things and everything else, when it comes down to why are people living there, it always winds up being something soft. It always winds up being just a lifestyle, you know? Like I can go to the beach and the air is fresh and it's beautiful, you know, 11 and a half months out of the year. And the people are nice, you know? So it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. And that's kind of the message here, Ed, is we want people to understand that they can get this. I know, Ed, you know my company, OwnAmerica, we're educating the world on how to invest and build wealth in real estate. We have free classes that we offer online. You guys are offering free classes online as well. We're trying to show everybody that, hey, you can do this, all right? You can get this, and it's a heck of a lot of fun, and it requires you to use your brain power, but you can discover things that other people are missing that literally can help you retire filthy rich, if that's one of your objectives. So, hey, listen, thank you, Ed. I really appreciate it. You can be found at watsonrealty.com. Is that right?
Yes, watsonrealtycorp.com.
watsonrealtycorp.com. That's Ed Foreman. He's the president of Watson Realty Corp. Thank you so much, Ed, for being on the show.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, so we're going to go to a break, and we have a couple of calls, but we have room for more. So if you want to give us a call, 800-848-WABC. Back in a moment. What I want to do is I want to welcome some of the new affiliates of the OwnAmerica Network. You're listening to Randon Real Estate, which is brought to you by the OwnAmerica Network. We're proud to welcome our new affiliates this month: Century 21 Beggins in Tampa, Capstone Residential in Jacksonville, Coldwell Banker Preferred in Las Vegas, RE/MAX Advantage in Las Vegas, ERA Real Estate throughout Central New Jersey, Coldwell Banker Coastal Alliance in Orange County, California, ERA Caputo in Nassau County, New York, RE/MAX of Barrington in Chicago, RE/MAX Properties in Colorado Springs, RE/MAX Best Choice in St. Louis, Watson Realty Group in Jacksonville, and, of course, Better Homes and Gardens, Rand Realty, my family business. If you'd like to bring the OwnAmerica Network to a town near you, call us at 888-332-7722.
We love the weekends as much as you do.